Okay, so you've stared into that sink, right? The water just sitting there, not moving. It's so annoying.
Oh, yeah. That, or the panic when the toilet looks like it's about to overflow.
Exactly. We've all had those moments. So today we're going to dive into those common household plumbing problems. The ones that start small but can, blow up really fast.
Right.
And we've got some great insights here based on the experience of Justin Wilder from Wild Water Plumbing. He works across Pender, Onslow, Carteret, New Hanover counties right here in North Carolina. Seen it all, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's what's great about this. It's not theory, it's straight from the field. Real problems that people face around here. It gives you a solid, practical understanding.
Definitely. So think of this as like your quick guide to understanding your pipes. Our mission really is to help you get why these things happen and maybe see why calling a pro is often the way to go.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's jump right in. The classic clogged kitchen drain. A lot of us know that one. Justin says grease buildup is, well, usually the main villain.
Yeah, he has a good way of putting it. Like, grease acts as this sort of glue.
Glue.
Yeah, for all the other stuff going down. Food bits, coffee grounds, soap. It all sticks to the grease. And it just builds up, layer by layer, inside the pipe.
Ah, so it's not usually one big thing, but this gradual accumulation.
Exactly. It just creeps up on you. And it's
Right.
not just cooking oil, right? Think about fibrous stuff like vegetable peels, eggshells. They don't always grind up well.
Right.
Rice, pasta, they expand. Coffee grounds, even if you have a disposal. And then, well, there's the accidents.
Like dropping a dish rag down there. Or a fork.
It happens, yeah.
Yeah.
And those can cause an instant blockage.
Totally. But here's something interesting. He brought up venting problems.
Ah, yes. The vent pipes.
He said if that pipe, the one that lets air into the drain lines, gets blocked or, isn't working right, you can get gurgling sounds, slow draining. So sometimes it's not actually a clog down in the drain itself, but it's an air pressure thing. The vents are like the plumbing's lungs, right? They need to breathe.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Proper venting means smooth flow. No vacuum effects slowing things down.
Okay.
And, well, that's where the pros really come in handy. Justin talks about the specialized tools they have.
Like drain snakes.
Exactly. Those flexible cables. And hydrojetting, that's high-pressure water, to really clear things out safely without wrecking the pipes.
Which is key.
And they can use cameras, too. Little cameras to go inside and see exactly what's going on, find the blockage, see if the pipe is damaged.
Yeah, that beats just, hoping for the best. He also warns about some DIY stuff like boiling water or vinegar. Says it might help a tiny bit with minor clogs, maybe.
Yeah, minor ones. Doesn't usually cut it for real grease buildup.
And chemical drain cleaners, he wasn't keen on those.
No. They often don't work well on grease anyway, and they can be really harsh on your pipes. Corrosive. Plus, there's the safety risk, Chemical burns are no joke.
Definitely not. Those professional tools sound much safer and more effective.
Absolutely. They get to the root of the problem.
He did give a good pro tip, though. Seems obvious, but don't pour grease down the drain.
Please don't.
Collect it, trash it, use sink strainers, and flush with hot water now and then. Simple stuff, really.
Makes a big difference.
Okay, let's shift gears. The one everyone dreads, the fully backed up toilet. Ugh, instant panic.
Oh, absolutely. It's messy, urgent.
Yeah.
Yeah, not fun. And Justin's really clear here. The #1 cause, flushing stuff you shouldn't.
Right. He really hammered this point. Only human waste and toilet paper. That's it.
That is it.
But you see all those products labeled flushable, right? Wipes are a big one.
Huge one. Even the ones saying flushable often aren't. They just don't break down like TP. Same goes for hygiene products, paper towels, cotton swabs.
He even mentioned kids' toys, toothbrushes.
Yep. Little things that go down accidentally, they snag, catch waste, and boom, you've got a serious clog forming. They act like a net.
Okay, so these things are clog magnets. And he said a backed up toilet isn't always just about the toilet itself, right? It can be a sign of something bigger.
Exactly. It could be a warning sign for your main sewer line. If other drains are acting up too, like gurgling when you flush or multiple toilets are slow, that points further down the system.
Ah, okay, so the problem might be way beyond the toilet bowl.
Yeah. A major clog in the main line or even a full septic tank can literally push wastewater back up. And it usually comes up at the lowest point basement drains, first floor toilets.
So the toilet is just where you see the symptom.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
It's the messenger. He did mention rare cases where bad venting causes weak flushes or smells, but a backup, that's usually a physical blockage somewhere.
Gotcha. And again, this sounds like a call the plumber situation.
Definitely. Your plunger might handle a simple clog, but for serious obstructions, especially hard objects, you need specialized tools, augers that can break things up or pull them out.
Things homeowners just don't have.
Right. And dealing with raw sewage, that's a health hazard. Bacteria, pathogens. Plumbers have the gear and know how to handle it safely. And crucially, they can figure out if it's just the toilet line or a bigger sewer or septic issue.
Safety is huge there. So his big takeaway: don't use the toilet as a trash can. And if the plunger doesn't work, call for help. Don't risk major water damage or a sewage spill.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, moving on to the main artery, the sewer line itself. Justin called it the highway for all your drains.
Good description.
And if there's a problem there, it affects everything. So what are the big warning signs for a mainline issue?
The biggest clue is multiple fixtures acting up at once. Like the toilet backs up when the washing machine drains. Or maybe all your drains suddenly seem slow. That's a strong indicator the problem's in the main line.
Okay, that makes sense. Widespread disruption.
Yeah, and Justin warns, mainline problems are serious. Sewage backing up inside your house or maybe even bubbling up in the yard. It's bad news.
Yikes. And what's usually causing these mainline jams, especially around here in older neighborhoods?
Tree roots. That's a really common one.
Tree roots. How?
Well, roots naturally seek out water, right? And sewer lines are a constant source. They can get into the tiniest cracks in the pipe. And once they're in, they just grow, form these dense masses that block everything. Older pipes, like clay or cast iron, are especially vulnerable.
So the beautiful old trees in the neighborhood could be attacking the pipes underground.
Unfortunately, yes. The moisture, the nutrients,
Right.
it's like a buffet for them. And with so many mature trees around Jacksonville, it's definitely something we see a lot.
Right.
But it's not just roots.
Okay, what else?
Pipes can break or get misaligned. You know, the ground shifts over time, pipes age, or you can get major blockages from grease buildup way down the line, or maybe something solid got flushed that shouldn't have.
Right.
And sometimes pipes can sag, develop a belly, he called it. Creates a low spot where waste just collects and builds up.
Man, it's a minefield down there. So how do plumbers figure out which of those things is happening? You can't exactly just look.
Right. That's where the camera inspection comes in again, the sewer scope.
Ah, the camera.
Let's snake a camera down the line, get a live video feed, lets them see exactly what's rolling roots, a break, a belly, a big clog. Diagnosis is key.
And once they know the problem, what are the fixes? Sounds like they could vary a lot.
They do. For clogs or maybe minor roots, they might use heavy-duty augers or that hydrojetting again to blast it clear.
Okay.
If roots are a recurring issue, they have special root-cutting tools. But if the pipe itself is broken or collapsed, well, then you're looking at repair or replacement.
That sounds major, digging up the yard.
Sometimes. But Justin mentioned there are trenchless methods now too, like pipe lining or pipe bursting. They can often fix the pipe without major excavation. Still, these are complex jobs. Definitely not DIY.
No kidding. Sounds like something you want experts handling. And he really stressed acting early, didn't he? Don't ignore those signs.
Absolutely. Multiple slow drains, weird gurgling, sewage smells.
Yeah.
Get it checked out. Waiting usually just makes the problem worse and more expensive to fix. Sewer line issues don't fix themselves.
Good advice. Proactive is better. Okay, let's switch to something maybe a bit less common, but definitely weird. Sand in your tap water.
Yeah, finding grit in your water is unsettling.
Right. Justin said it happens, especially with wells or in areas with older city pipes. So if you're on a well, what causes that?
Several possibilities.
Yeah.
The well itself might be silting up, or the pump might be set too low, pulling in sediment from the bottom. Could also be a damaged well screen or casing letting sand through.
Okay.
And he noted, especially in coastal areas like ours with sandy soil, older, shallower wells might just not filter out the really fine sand effectively.
So the well is kind of dredging up sand. What if you're on city water? Why would you get sand then?
Sometimes it's temporary. Like if there's work on the water mains nearby or they flush a hydrant, they can stir up sediment already in the pipes. Usually clears up.
Ah.
But if it's persistent, it could be corrosion inside old galvanized iron pipes in your house, flakes off as sort of rust sand.
Rust sand, got it.
And sometimes it's not even sand. Could be bits from a failing water heater dip tube, or maybe resin beads or mineral bits from a malfunctioning water softener. Needs some detective work.
So it could be a few different things. Why is sand actually bad, apart from being gritty?
Well, it's abrasive.
Yeah.
Causes wear and tear on everything. Clogs, faucet aerators, shower heads, valves in your appliances.
Like washing machines, dishwashers.
Exactly. Reduces water pressure, damages the insides, can lead to pipe damage over time, wear out water heater elements, faucet cartridges. It adds up.
Yeah, sounds like it could get expensive. So if you start seeing sand, what should you do?
Call a pro, a plumber, or if you have a well, maybe a well service company, they can investigate, figure out the source.
And the solutions might be?
Could be installing or servicing a sediment filter or a sand separator. Maybe the well needs cleaning or the pump adjusted, flushing the lines if it was a city disturbance, or fixing or replacing the water heater or soggener if that's the culprit.
But definitely don't start taking pipes apart yourself to figure it out.
No, please don't. Leave a diagnosis to the experts.
Okay, good call. Let's move to the bathroom now. The classic slow-draining bathtub. Standing in ankle-deep water by the end of your shower. Not ideal.
No, it's pretty gross, actually.
It's usually behind that.
9 times out of 10. Hair.
Mostly.
Every shower, you lose some hair. It collects on that little crossbar in the drain, or it gets washed a bit further down, and then it acts like a net, catches soap scum, toothpaste, all that stuff, builds up into a really nasty clog.
Ugh, a hair monster in the drain, and the soap scum makes it worse.
Yeah, definitely. Soap scum narrows the pipe anyway, and it helps bind all that hair together, makes it stick. Hard water deposits, scale buildup, that can contribute too.
So it all conspires against drainage. Could a slow tub drain ever be part of that bigger mainline issue we talked about?
It can be, occasionally. If you hear gurgling when it drains, or other drains are slow too, maybe. But Justin points out, if it's just the tub, the clog is almost certainly right there in the tub's drain assembly or trap.
Localized problem. So do those chemical drain cleaners work on hair? Seems like they're marketed for that.
Honestly, often not very well. Hair is surprisingly tough. And again, you've got the risks, pipe damage, dangerous chemical soup sitting in your tub if it doesn't work.
Right. Not worth it. So what do plumbers do?
They usually remove the stopper and go in with a drain snake and auger, physically pull the hair clog out.
Get the monster out.
Exactly. Or sometimes they'll use power washing to really scrub the pipe clean of soap scum and scale too. Much more effective and safer.
Makes sense. He did mention sometimes it could be like the pipe wasn't installed right, bad slope or something.
Yeah. Less common, but improper slope on the drain trap or arm can cause issues.
Yeah.
That's more of a construction defect, needs professional correction.
Okay. But for most of us, preventing the hair clog is key. His tip.
Simple drain strainer or hair catcher. Put one over the drain, clean it out regularly. Easiest fix there is.
And definitely don't try to just jam the clog further down with a coat hanger or something.
No, good way to damage the pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the list. Foul drain odors. That lovely sewer gas smell. Nobody wants that in their house. What causes it? Well, the first line of defense is the P-trap that you bend under the sink or built into the toilet.
Right, it holds water.
Exactly. That water acts as a seal, blocking gases from the sewer line from coming up. So a really common cause of odors is just a dried out P-trap.
How does that happen?
If a drain isn't used, often like a guest bathroom sink or a floor drain in the basement, the water in the trap can just evaporate over time.
Yeah.
Especially when the air is dry.
Ah, okay. And the fix?
Super simple. Just run some water down that drain for maybe 30 seconds or a minute, refills the trap, restores the seal, problem solved.
Easy enough. But what if you know the traps have water and you still get that smell?
Then you start looking at the vent system again. Remember those pipes going up through the roof?
Yeah, the plumbing lungs.
Right. They let sewer gas escape outside and balance air pressure. If a vent gets blocked, leaves, bird's nest, whatever, the gas can't get out that way. So it might push back through your traps, even if they have water.
And you might hear gurgling then, too.
Often, yeah. Gurgling is a classic sign of a venting issue. The air isn't moving right.
Okay. Blocked vents. What else?
Sometimes it's just gunk in the drain itself. That biofilm layer, hair, soap, grease, food bits, bacteria building up inside the pipes.
Drain crud.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
As it decomposes, it can release some pretty nasty smells, especially from kitchen sinks or shower drains. Needs a good cleaning, maybe some drain sanitizer.
Makes sense. But what if it smells really strong, like actual sewer gas?
Then you have to consider problems further down. A crack in a drain pipe somewhere under the house could be leaking gas. Or, again, a backup in the main sewer line could be forcing odors up through any weak point.
And sewer gas isn't just smelly, it can be harmful, right?
Absolutely. It can contain methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide,
Yeah.
stuff you really don't want to be breathing. Persistent sewer odors need to be taken seriously.
Definitely. How do plumbers track down smells like that?
They'll check the traps first, look for leaks around pipes, and they might do a smoke test.
Smoke test.
Yeah, they pump non-toxic smoke into the drain system. If smoke appears inside the house, it shows exactly where the leak or bad connection is. Pretty effective.
Cool. So solutions could be clearing vents, cleaning drains, maybe fixing a pipe leak.
Right, or using enzyme treatments to break down the smelly stuff. But Justin advises caution with DIY beyond just refilling a trap. Vent systems and sewer gas, best left to pros.
Agreed. Safety first. Okay, last topic. Water flooding around a sump pump. That seems wrong.
It's definitely alarming. The pump's whole job is to remove water, so seeing it surrounded by water means something's failed.
Right. And Justin mentioned these are common on our area, coastal NC, because of the high water table, especially in crawl spaces or basements.
Exactly. They fight that groundwater intrusion. So if it's flooding around the pump, what's gone wrong?
Several things, he said.
Yeah.
The float switch, the thing that tells the pump to turn on, could be stuck or broken. Maybe debris got in the sump pit.
Okay.
The discharge line where the water gets pumped out could be clogged or frozen in winter.
Right. If the water can't get out,
It just backs up. Or the pump motor itself could just be dead, burned out, maybe from overwork during a big storm or debris damage.
and power outages. That's a big one. Pump needs electricity.
Good point. He stressed having a battery backup for that reason.
Crucial, because pumps often fail when you need them most during heavy rain.
But can a working pump still get overwhelmed sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. If you get an absolutely torrential downpour or there's just a massive amount of groundwater coming in, even a good pump might not keep up. Might need a bigger pump or a second one as backup.
And he also talked about drainage outside the house affecting the pump.
Big time. If your gutters are clogged and overflowing right next to the foundation, or your yard slopes towards the house.
You're just feeding water right to the sump pump constantly.
Exactly. It creates this cycle the pump can't win. So fixing outside drainage, extending downspouts, regrading the yard, maybe adding French drains, that's often part of the solution. Might need to work with landscapers or waterproofers too.
So it's a whole system approach. What should you do if you see water around the pump?
Act fast. Call a plumber or sump pump specialist. They'll check the pump, the switch, the discharge line, see if the pump failed or if it's just overwhelmed.
And solutions could be pump repair, replacement, maybe a bigger pump, backup system.
Yep. All depends on the diagnosis.
And like everything else, they need maintenance.
Definitely. Test your sump pump regularly, maybe once a year, have it serviced. Much better to find a problem before your basement floods.
For sure. And he warned about messing around in the sump pit yourself.
Yeah, it can be hazardous. Debris, sudden pump start, electrical risks. Best to be cautious.
Okay, so that covers a lot of ground. And through all these different issues, the recurring theme from Justin's experience seems to be, call a professional. Why is that advice so consistent?
Well, it boils down to a few key things. First, training and experience. Licensed plumbers know what they're doing. They can diagnose things accurately, work safely, follow codes.
Unlike us amateurs who might make things worse.
It happens. Trying to fix something and accidentally breaking a pipe or making a leak worse, DIY can backfire.
And tools, right. They have stuff we don't.
Exactly. Those cameras, power snakes, hydrojetters, leak detectors. Specialized equipment makes a huge difference in finding the real problem and fixing it properly the first time. They can see things we can't.
Plus, safety. We touched on that a few times. Sewage exposure, electrical risks.
Absolutely. Plumbing work can be genuinely hazardous. Professionals are trained to handle those risks safely.
And ultimately, it saves hassle and maybe money in the long run.
That's the argument. Peace of mind, knowing it's done right. Licensed plumbers usually warranty their work. A proper fix prevents callbacks, avoids bigger problems down the road caused by a failed DIY attempt. It saves stress.
Makes sense. So while it's tempting to try and fix it yourself, calling a pro often saves time, stress, and potentially costly mistakes. Justin really seems to emphasize trust and quality service.
Yeah, getting it handled safely and completely the first time. That's the goal.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive. We've covered everything from kitchen sinks to sewer lines to sump pumps. Hopefully listening gives you a better handle on why these things pop up and underscores the value of getting professional help when you need it.
Absolutely. Understanding the why helps a lot.
Definitely gives you something to think about, maybe even regarding your own house, right? Lots to consider there.